Hey y'all, welcome back to the cookie jar. Today we're doing the 8th and final cookie recipe. The last one we're doing out of this book, The Sugar Cookie Murder. It's been 6 months in the making for this book. There's been a lot of recipes in here. So the last one we're making is called Rhubarb Bar Cookies. And that's on these 2 pages here. And I don't think I've ever seen rhubarb in person. I haven't even heard about it until I started watching the Great British Baking Show. So, I don't know. This might be something we have to revisit in the spring if I ever see it. It could just be something I've never looked for, so I've never noticed it. I don't know. But for today, we're using a can of it. I don't know how that's going to affect it, but that's all I could find. So, we are preheating the oven to 350 degrees. The first thing is a note from Hannah. This recipe, or a very close variant, was contributed by over a dozen Lake Eden women. They also contributed recipes for rhubarb pie, rhubarb bread, rhubarb cookies, rhubarb jam, rhubarb tarts, rhubarb cakes, and rhubarb sauce. We decided in an emergency session of the cookbook committee to include only one rhubarb recipe since the cookbook will be distributed nationally, and believe it or not, there are some areas of the country where rhubarb doesn't grow. Since so many Lake Eden ladies like this recipe, we chose it. So, what we're going to need is a cup of flour, no need to sift, half a cup of white granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup softened butter, 1 stick, 1/4 pound, 1 beaten egg, just whip it up in a glass with ... 1 tablespoon of milk, 2 cups peeled finely diced rhubarb, 1 small package 3-ounce strawberry Jell-O, regular, not sugar-free, 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of flour, no need to sift, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a cup softened butter, half a stick, 1/8 pound. Don't mean to point something out, but I think that was a misprint. Because right up here it says half a cup softened butter, 1 stick, 1/4 pound. And at the bottom it says 1/8. I'm sure that's supposed to be a 1/4 there as well. Anyway, so you basically mix the first 3, the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, and the salt, and then you add in the butter and then an egg with the milk, and you stir that in. You can also do this in a food processor with chilled butter cut into pieces with steel blade. So throw everything in the processor, mash it up, and then spray it 9x9 with cooking spray. You can use an 8x8, but it'll be very full. And then you spread out that mixture with the bottom, sprinkle the rhubarb, sprinkle the Jell-O, and then you're putting the half a cup of sugar, or the cup of sugar, the half a cup of flour, and the cinnamon in the food processor and cutting in the butter. And then you're putting that on top of the rhubarb and Jell-O stuff. You're going to bake it off for 45 minutes. So, I have no idea what to expect at all from this. I don't know how it's going to come out using the canned rhubarb. This is just an all-around mystery to finish off this book. So, fingers crossed, something comes out of it. Everything's laid out in the kitchen. Let's get in there and get started. Here is everything we're going to need today. First thing we're doing is try to get this a little bit more towards this. Okay. So it says mix the flour. So that's our cup of flour. And the sugar, half a cup of sugar, as well as the teaspoon of baking powder and the half a teaspoon of salt. It goes in. Just gonna give that a quick pulse. And then it says to cut in the softened butter. Well, since food processor, we're using cold butter cut into some chunks. So, and then it says to whip up the egg and the milk. So that's 1 tablespoon of milk and 1 egg. we're just gonna add this in. With it going into the processor like this, I'm not actually sure I had to do that. This thing came with the dough thing. It did. But it's plastic, and all the recipes say to use the steel blade. So I haven't used it yet. I don't actually know if it works. So we are done with this for right now, but we're gonna need it again later for when we do the topping in a second. Try to move that out of the way. So we have our sprayed. This is actually an 8x5 by an 8x5, I think. 8.25 maybe? I can't tell. Anyway, but it's pretty deep, so I'm hoping it'll be okay. All right, now we just spread it out the bottom of the pan. It is sticky, so it's something to watch out for. I don't like this at all. It's not spreading. Already, with how messy this is, I'm not liking it. Okay, so next, spread the mixture on the bottom, press it down, sprinkle with rhubarb. This is what we have now. Now we're gonna take the strawberry Jell-O. Sprinkle Jell-O powder over that. So yeah, we're not making the Jell-O. This seems like a lot of powder. Okay. Shake it around. That's what we got now. Back to this again. We want a cup of sugar this time to a half a cup of flour. The half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and we're gonna mix this. And then we add in the other stick of butter. Now it says to scatter this over the top, and most of the powder has been absorbed into the rhubarb. I don't know if this will work or not with the canned, but it smells really good. Between the strawberries and the cinnamon, it smells good. All right, I think that's all we need to do this. Now we just need to bake it at 350 for 45 minutes, or until the rhubarb has cooked through and the topping is nice and brown. 45 minutes is what we're gonna give it, and hopefully by then the top will be brown and it'll be where it needs to be. So, just for a little up close of what it looks like. You've got the bottom crust, you've got that layer of the rhubarb with the strawberry Jell-O, and then you've got the top crust. It said 45 minutes, but I think I gave it closer to an hour just because it did not seem like it was cooked on top. That is what we ended up with. So here is what we ended up with for the Rhubarb Bar Cookie. Now, for me, this came out looking a lot more like a cake than it does any kind of cookie. But yeah, see that is cake. That is cake. Okay. I did read somewhere that it would taste like green apple. It does. It very much does. That is unique. It's cake-ish. It's cookie-ish. This is very interesting and very good. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out having to use the bar, the can. Oh, this is really good. The cinnamon works really well with it. Yep. I don't know. It's sweet, it's tart, it's crunchy. It's really, really good. I was not expecting to like it as much as I do. I was concerned about the cooking. I was concerned about the canned stuff. But ironically enough, with there being a whole packet of the strawberry Jell-O powder in there, I'm not really sure I get any strawberry. I can't taste any strawberry at all. It's good though. So, as I said in the beginning of the video, we are now done with the sugar cookie murder. We're moving on to the peach cobbler murder. And the first recipe in the book is Minnesota peach cobbler. So, if you are interested in seeing that get made, join us next week. I hope you lovelies have a good one. Bye, guys.